Hi, I'm Sherry from Homeschooling on a Wing and a Prayer blog. I thought I would share with you how I created my homeschool lesson planner, covers, dividing pages, and a few extras. Obviously, you can use different type of paper. You can print downloads and have them laminated, or I thought about this one. You can take some really good art paper and have your kids draw you your covers. Just be sure to remind them to leave some spaces available where you can put your labels, because we all know how children are. When you cover up their pictures, it gets them very upset. And also, do not use crayon, because obviously it's wax and kids kind of press a little hard here and there, and then it will get like bumpy or have those little shavings, and it could just totally mess up the cover or mess up your machine. So keep that in mind. I would say some good art pencils or watercolors or pens, something like that. Anyway, I am a scrapbooker, so I chose the scrapbooking paper I had laying about. I did use 12 by 12, and that way I could cut it down to size. I simply found a bunch of sheets that had colors that matched or patterns that matched and put them all together. I had a couple pieces that were long enough and wide enough to use as rulers, so I just went ahead and laminated those, and I can put them wherever I am throughout the year. I also created this little dashboard, and what I'm going to do is put post-it notes of different sizes on here. Now, I wouldn't put the whole stack. I'd put like a little bit and then refill as I needed. But that way I always have them handy when I'm doing my scheduling, and this will probably sit towards the front of the planner because that way I'll easily be able to find it. On the back, I laminated in some post-it notes where I can keep like, hey, look at me type of notes, so I can take care of them and then erase it and put something else there. Now we have the covers. I have my own laminator, which happens to be the Scotch, and I had to work within the parameter of the laminating sheets. So I created covers that were 8 3/4 inches wide by 10 11/16 inches long. I'm not really sure why I didn't just do it at 11. I cannot remember. I may have thought I didn't have enough room, but I think I did. Maybe not. So I did it just slightly smaller so that I'd have a good trim around that would seal. I obviously, like I said, picked scrapbook paper. It's a little bit thicker because you want your cover to withstand constantly opening and closing. Typed up a title, added a year. Now if I choose not to go this route, all I'll have to do is just type up something new and then tape it down over. It's not a big deal. And then on the interior side, I just put a coordinating color, a couple more post-it notes because I will definitely see those every time I open it up. And then I found a quote on Pinterest by Charlotte Mason. It says, "Children are born with all the curiosity they will ever need. It will last a lifetime if they are fed upon a daily diet of ideas." That's just a really cute quote. We are Charlotte Mason based, and it also will remind me to plan accordingly, to not squash the curiosity. Nothing worse than having your desire to learn just pelted by boring stuff that just won't make it good. So that's a reminder to me. Keep it interesting. I also, on the back sheet, have the coordinating color paper, and then I went ahead and just put some more sticky notes for more bullet pointing, and then here I put some contact information just in case I do take my planner outside of the house. In case I forget it, somebody will know how to get a hold of me. I don't plan on doing that, but I know a lot of people do, especially when their kids are in classes and such. They have time to kind of work on things, so I would recommend putting that on the front cover so somebody could find it right away. I only have my phone number, but I also recommend perhaps an email address that they can get a hold of you. And now on the interior ones. These are 8.5 inches wide by 10 3/4 inches long. I had to make it smaller, as you can see. It's a little bit, not much. I just wanted them to be protected within the boundaries of the big cover. I also decided, after watching a few YouTube videos where I saw ladies had the tabs up at the top, to do it that way. I could have easily have cut it in even more and then put tabs down along the side. I am left-handed, and this is a right-hander's world over here. So I thought, well, why not? This is more user-friendly for me, and I just went ahead and put them across the top. I don't know if you can see this, but this is literally all the space I had left. So I guess, you know what, that's probably why my cover was that size. I had to fit it in there. All right, so I had to work around this, and then there's just a teensy tiny bit of a seal right here on this top. I figure if it comes apart, all I have to do is put the clear packing tape to hold it together. What I did is I ran all the pages through twice, and then I took my iron, which was set on rayon, and quickly took the tip and kind of resealed all the way around, especially right here because it's not going to very well. And then I was able to cut out accordingly and know that it was sealed. So that's an idea for you. Again, if you're taking it someplace to be laminated, I don't think you have to be as critical on sizes. Then all I did was choose some titles. I wanted my goals, lists, and overviews at the top. That way I had it handy and available to find right away. I also put a quote my husband says all the time, failure to plan is planning to fail. He actually picked that up from some guy at work, and it makes a lot of sense. Now, lately, by not planning and organizing, I have been frankly failing, at least according to my standards and what I want to accomplish. Even though the year was extremely stressful, we were able to get a lot done, but I feel like maybe we could have gotten a lot more done, and definitely the years prior had I have taken the time to organize a little bit better and really set up a teacher's planner. So here we are, and that's my goal. So on the back I put some paper from printablepaper.net. I'm sorry, I cannot remember the YouTube video gal who mentioned that. If I find her, I'll list her. But they have all different kinds. They have graph paper and such, and I wanted to print a college level paper, not just put a sheet in there because the color is off. And then that way I can take more notes. Then I have the weekly schedule. A lot of the planners put this towards the back. I wanted it towards the front because frankly that's where I'm going to be the majority of the time. So obviously I just chose coordinating paper, cut out a little bit of a flower that I had left over from my scraps, and then I put a quote that I say to myself all the time. It's actually mine that I'm aware of, although it does mimic quite a few. It wasn't like I was some kind of genius and came up with this. It just is what I tell myself all the time, and that's why it is here. Be proactive so you don't have to be reactive. A lot of times when you fail to plan and organize and get your stuff together, usually you get yourself in a pickle and then you're running around crazy trying to make up for whatever it is you didn't do, and it's stressful, and there's no need to be. Obviously you can still plan and things go awry, but at least by doing the weekly scheduling for my son's school, I have it there. I can kind of follow it as a template and do what I can, instead of like, oh no, we didn't do this and that, and then feeling bad about it or getting further and further behind. So this is for me. This is going to remind me, get in there every day and do what you need to do to stay on schedule for the most part, and do what you feel you need to get done by such and such a time frame. Now that he's in high school, I really have to be a lot better about this. Again, the tab is moved over slightly so I can find it easily. And there you go, same type of paper on the back. Then we have the class descriptions and grades. Being that, like I said, he's in high school, I need this. I'm going to have to pull together a transcript, and it's always good to have not just the grades, but what was the class they took. So, one of the things I wanted to point out is when you are doing your class descriptions, make sure you give it a creative title that is still on point with what it covered, yet not boring, like Art 101, instead of Art in European History, 1700 to 1900, you know, something like that. Then I already can tell by the title what you're talking about. And then in the description, you just list just some bullet points or a little synopsis of what the class covers. And then that way, when you are submitting your transcripts or whatever, if the college admissions are like, what was that class? You can just give them a printout of that paper and say, there you go. And it's just good to have. So you kind of like helps you pull together your thoughts on what kind of class you want to throw together and provide for your student. Also, obviously, grades help for your transcripts. So there you go, coordinated paper. And then I found study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. That's a good thing to remember when you're pulling together your classes. Make sure it's something the student is at least somewhat interested in. Granted, they're not going to be interested in all the basics. I mean, who would be? But, you know, that's a good lesson too to learn in life. Not everything's going to be a circus event, but at least, you know, when you're pulling it together, try and find interesting materials and books and things that will pull together a really fun class. And then again, lined paper. This one I kept really generic. I don't know yet what notes I want to put back here, but I know there's going to be a stack of pretty much empty paper, so I can jot down ideas and plans and things I find or things I want to do in the future, or just doodle, I don't know. But that's what I'm going to use this section for. And then I found Do What You Can with What You Have Where You Are by Teddy Roosevelt. I thought that really spoke to me because, you know what, especially after this past year, I've only been able to do what I can. And we've actually accomplished more than I thought under our circumstances, but still. You know, sometimes I think we all need to remind ourselves, you can only do what you can do at that point in your life. So just go with it and let God help you through it, and He'll take care of the rest. With what you have, well, you don't always have everything you need or you want. Let me rephrase that. Your neighbor or your other homeschooling pals may have everything you think you want, and it's not good either. So try not to compare yourself. This is something I need to, even, yes, after 20 years of homeschooling, remind myself, don't compare yourself. I see all these really cool ladies showing all these different things that they're doing, and I'm like, wow, I never did that with my kids. You know, and then you start feeling bad or you start comparing yourself, and you shouldn't do that. You can only work with what you have, depending on your budget, your time, your situation in life at that point. So just stick with it. And then where you are. Well, where you are could be like crazy time with a new baby in the house, or maybe you just did a really big move, or maybe you're adding another student or two to your lineup, or you're graduating a couple or one or two or whatever, and it's changing how you're going to homeschool. So that's another good reminder. Right now I'm just down to one student, and it definitely changes how I plan and organize our school year. Now, because it would have been redundant to put this type of paper on the back of a notes section, I just used the extra paper I had laying around. This was so thick I ran it through 3 times and made sure I took the iron all the way around and secured that seal. And then again, we've already discussed the final back pages of that, and there you go. That's my planner. That's how I put it together, and of course this will be bound. I'm not sure yet, probably coil bound, or it could go with another option. But there is an idea. I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Can't say as I can answer them, but I'll try. Be sure to, though, subscribe, because I have a lot more videos I want to come out with, and you will not know they're there unless you are subscribed, or you constantly come back here and check. And, you know, I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.